Hi, everybody. Just running something by you. What are you doing next week? Any plans? Cancel them, because the Cleveland Browns are still alive. They move on to the next round of the NFL playoffs. They'll take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium next Sunday at 3:05. More about that as the week goes along. But what a story we can tell about the Browns beating the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field, winning the game by a final score of 48-37. An amazing performance when you think about the whole package. And by the whole package, I mean, what happened last week? What happened to the team with no practices basically all week long and getting ready to play a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were really fully healthy, minus Joe Hayden. But other than that, most of their starters all back in there. Big Ben Roethlisberger throwing all over the stadium. But the Browns built up an insurmountable lead that was challenged at times, but they jumped out in an incredible win, maybe one of the greatest wins in franchise history. It's their first playoff win since back in 1994 when Bill Belichick was their head coach, and they beat the New England Patriots on a New Year's Day that were coached by Bill Parcells and quarterback by Drew Bledsoe. And remember, they've only won one time going into this game ever at Heinz Field, and that was a Sunday night winner the year after they got knocked out of the playoffs by the Steelers with Tim Couch as their quarterback. But this one was a thing of beauty, with Kevin Stefanski back in Cleveland with COVID, with Joel Bitonio not on that offensive line at left guard because of COVID. The same was true for Denzel Ward and Kevin Johnson and Kaderil Hodge. What hope did they have? After all, last week, basically, they were shut down all week long until late Friday afternoon when they squeezed in a practice, finally allowed to practice by the NFL because they felt they had arrested the spread of COVID. Saturday, a walkthrough. The team flew. The coaching staff that were available, they drove to the game. Jack Conklin, who was under the weather, he was isolated, and he went over to Pittsburgh by himself. Unbelievable. And they came out right away. And by right away, I mean on their first defensive play of the game, a high snap over the head of Ben Roethlisberger, ends up in the end zone, recovered by Browns safety Carl Joseph. And here we go. You knew at that time the Browns were ready to play. 7-0. Turnovers followed by Roethlisberger. They were turned into touchdowns by the Browns. Baker Mayfield with 3 touchdown passes in the game. Nick Chubb with a huge touchdown run and catch. 40 yards on a screen pass into the right flat that when the Steelers got close, Chubb gave the Browns some more breathing room. Kareem Hunt with a tough night running the football. He had 2 touchdowns in the game. Cody Parkey kicked well. Jarvis Landry came up with clutch catches, a 40-yard touchdown catch and run, and then big catches late in the game when the Browns were trying to add on to their lead and also take some time off the clock. For Big Ben Roethlisberger, a record-setting night in a bad way, at least as far as the final score is concerned. No quarterback has ever completed more passes in a game, playoff or regular season. He completed 47. He threw for over 500 yards. He threw for 4 touchdowns, but he also threw 4 interceptions in the game. And the Browns, minus healthy bodies in the secondary, were really open to Roethlisberger and that quick passing attack all night long in the second half, and it really got a bit scary. But the Browns dialed in once again, a together team, and hung on and ended up coming up with a glorious victory, a playoff win, and now a matchup against the number 1 seed in the world, the Kansas City Chiefs. The defending Super Bowl champs will host the Browns coming up next Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. Now the silver lining. Hopefully the Browns will have a lot of their coaching staff back, led by their head coach. Hopefully they'll get Joel Bitonio back at left guard. Hopefully they'll get Denzel Ward back and Kevin Johnson too. In other words, hopefully they'll be more like the real Cleveland Browns when they go to Kansas City. But don't doubt them. There's something about them. It's beautiful to watch. The culture has changed in Cleveland with the Browns. They are as together as they have ever been, and they are winners on this Sunday night over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another night to remember. And on to Kansas City the Browns go next week. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field, 48-37, the final score. I'm Jim Donovan for WKYC.com.